Hello everyone, my name is Amit Kumar. Today we are going to talk about AI augmented development. By AI augmented, what I meant is the evolution of development, okay, with the help of AI. Okay, today we are going to see how exactly the day-to-day activities of a developer has changed ever since the AI has evolved in the recent years. Okay, particularly we are going to develop a .NET Core Web API project end to end and see uh, how the development effort has changed and how AI is helping us to become 10x developers. Okay, previously if you want to be a 10x developer, you are expected to know the things that make you productive. Like for example, instead of using a UI, you would use command line things, okay, or you would write shell scripts, okay, or you would be very good at implementations, and to become very good at implementation you would do tens of implementations when you are learning it or in your previous projects, and then you would become a next developer. But now with the advent of AI, uh, it is helping people to become the 10x developer much faster. Okay, now let us see that in this particular video. Okay, so today we are gonna take one sample project, like we call it a super company API. Okay, in that we will have a simple two entities, a company entity and employee entity, and it will be a one-to-many relationship between these two entities. And by that what I mean is one company will have multiple employees, and multiple employees will be associated to one company. And we are going to develop it in a multi-layer or onion architecture way. So one thing which you need to understand is that although AI helps you in implementing the things faster, much productive way, much neater way, or uh, you know it would help you whenever you are stuck. For example, previously we were stuck, what you would do, you would Google the things, or you would do Google, and you go see different blogs and all that, or Stack Overflow, understand what the solution they are giving. You see different solutions and come to a conclusion what helps you. And also it was very difficult, sometimes challenging to explain your problem, right, to the Google, or to get a correct, it was art of googling, in the sense it was art of how generalist way you would tell Google, so that it can search and give you the solution. But now the way we would get that help has changed. We will see that. Now one important thing is that even though how you are implemented, or how you will bail yourself out whenever you are stuck has changed, but the overall architecture or overall understanding of the pattern still lies with the person who is developing it. So still you own the knowledge to tell, or you should know what you are trying to implement. Like for example, if you are implementing this thing, whether you are implementing it in a clean way, multi-layered onion architecture way, or you want to put everything in one place, you have to decide, and AI will help you to do whatever you decide. So so that core skill of writing, or the architect, or understanding the how the software has to be architected, okay, different patterns, right, like for example keep it simple pattern, or how dependency injection, all these things you should still know them. You Okay, AI will only help you once you have these basics intact. Okay, it will help you to implement the things faster and bail you out whenever you're stuck. Okay, now let us get back to the implementation part. So basically I will be implementing this particular APIs using these different layers. Okay, persistent layer will have controllers, okay, which would take the request and which would send the request to the down layer, service layer would basically call the domain layer. It would be single point of contact for the presentation layer to get the work done through the domain layer. Will have knowledge about how the database is exactly defined, what are the entities that are there in the database. Persistent layer will have the implementation of how to talk to the database and all that. Okay, so now the environment wise we will be using Visual Studio Code, and we will have Copilot integrated in it, and right, so and then we will be using .NET Core Web APIs, and we will be using Entity Framework to talk to the persistence layers, that is SQL Server. Okay, now let's get started. Let me open the Visual Studio Code. Okay, let me open the terminal to begin with. Okay, let me go into the folder. Okay, I hope you're looking here. Okay, and okay, let me. This is an empty folder. Okay, I have created one folder, empty folder called Super Company. Okay, to begin with, as you know, as a .NET developer, you need a solution. Let us create an empty solution. Okay, as a 10x developer previously, I would rather remember the command. I wouldn't go to the Google every time and do that. What I would do is, I would just run the command .NET new sln. By that I mean solution, and I would want it to be named as Super Company, right? Company, and we have that created. It says, let us check it. Yes, we have the solution. Now let us create a domain project, one empty class library, and let us. So for that, what I would do is, I would say .NET new class lib, and I want that to be named as supercompany.domain. Right, now let us see this. Let me close this. Okay, let me see what all I have. Okay, and now let me open this folder here. Super Company. Let me open this folder. Okay, so .NET C# thing is loading. So I will get a solution explorer here. Okay, but now you can see that I have this domain project, but that project is not added to the solution. Okay, let me add that to the solution. Now let us say that I don't remember that command. What would I do? I would go and Google it. But now I will use my. Okay, so this particular button opens a chat box. That's nothing but Copilot chat box, and here I will ask my, let me say, a co-developer, okay, or my pair programmer. Let me treat this as my pair programmer, somebody who is very good at implementing the things. Okay, he is a 10x developer, and I am a person who knows the architecture, who knows the different things, but don't always remember what a 10x developer usually remembers, like the commands and all that, or how to type the things fast in a snap, get the whole class implemented in C#. Let's say that kind of developer, I will treat this Copilot as that kind of developer. Okay, now so let me ask this person, okay, add domain project to solution. See, I'm not giving too much details here. I'm just talking to it as if I will talk to another human being, right? Let us see whether it understands what I'm speaking or not. Previously, if I have to do this, the Google, right, I would be a little more specific. Like I would say, I'm in the .NET project, how do I ask a class library to a solution, something like that. But here, and I would never expect it to give me the exact command that I just need to run it, because Google wouldn't know what project I'm working on, right? neither does the Stack Overflow. But this guy tells me exactly what to do. So it's saying that run this command. Okay, I'll say continue. It runs that command and it says project added. Okay, let me open the, yeah, it is indeed added. Now previously this particular thing was empty. Now the Solution Explorer is showing that project as part of the particular solution. Okay, so as part of the implementation, first I need the domain entities. In this domain project I need two domain entities, right? So for that, what I would say is, here I will say in domain projects add two classes. One I'll call it employee and other one would be company. Okay, let me see what it does. So it went ahead, okay, and let me refresh this. So here, what exactly? Okay, so what it did, it took the okay, this existing class one that comes with whenever you create a class library, it gives you one sample. So it went ahead and added these particular things in the that thing. So but I don't want that. I want it to be, please add separate files. Now let's see what it would do. So, okay, so it went ahead and created two. Okay, let me see the company. So it created this. Okay, and it came back. So these are good, but then the problem is that these needs to be decorated. A company, okay, I want a company to have more things like the address. Okay, add address related fields to company. Okay, let me see what it would do. Okay, it did went ahead and it added it. Okay, and what about employee? It has these things. Okay, now the problem here is that these are still what do you say, these particular entity need, the properties of these entities needs to have the entity framework related constraints like the required field or the length. And okay, so I will say implement EF constraints on the properties. I would just say this. Okay, it's thinking, rather working, and it comes back with this in particular things, right? Now it rightfully understood that company's key needs to be an ID. Okay, and name needs to be a string, and it has decided to have it length so much. Okay, and now let me go to employees. Okay, implement same thing in employee as well. Let us see what it would do. Okay, it added this. Now add one to many constraint, implement one to many relationship between company and employee. The reason I'm saying that, because in company it added this particular list which would say that company would have multiple employees, but in employee did not add any company here. Okay, so let us see what this would do. And see, I'm doing so many spelling mistakes, but still it's kind of understanding what I'm trying to tell it. Okay, so see here, it now in the company it added the navigation property. Okay, and let us see in the company already has this navigation property. Okay, but I see that there are a lot of what do you say, warnings here. So as you know, you can do a control dot and you can fix all these okay, problems here. This is a normal Visual Studio thing, right? So now we have these two things, and we don't need this class library that came along with the empty project. Now these are the two domain objects that are created for us, and they look good enough. So now so what I would do here I will say just keep. Okay, by keep, what it meant is that it's saying that I have accepted the changes. Okay, this looks good to me. So far so good. Now the next thing I want to do is create repositories, right, that would talk to the database. Okay, so for that, let me use the domain project. So so what I would say, let me leverage so for that, right, first of all I need to one second. Yeah, so I need to install entity framework. So now basically one more thing I want to do is that I want to move these classes into an entity folder. Okay, let me go to ChatGPT, I mean the thing, and say move the domain in entities to entity folder. Okay, so it has created an entity folder for us, and then we'll be adding. Okay, created the entity folder and then it added these things for us. Let us see. Okay, but it has not renamed these things, right? So you can even do a update. So oh no, it's still working on it, so let's wait for it. Okay, it's still working. Okay, so it did send this to the employee. Okay, and then to the company, it's doing the changes. Now the problem is that it has not updated the namespace to reflect that they have moved to in .NET, right? That's the standard, that the folder structure is what dictates the namespace also. So let us. So this is what happens with the with the Copilots or the Chat GPTs or the AI that is helping us. It might sometimes miss the things. So you need to have a watchful eye to see. You should behave as a you should think yourself as a senior developer, and these tools like a junior developer who is very good at implementing, but junior developer does sometimes misses the thing. So you need to keep reviewing what they have generated, and you need to keep asking them to refine it. So let me ask it to refine it. Update the namespaces correctly. Okay, this clue is enough for it. Okay, see, I did not tell it that rename it according to the folder structure and all that. Okay, it understood. Let us see what about this. Okay, do the same to all entities. Okay, there is only one, but if I would have more than one, right, I wouldn't say each time. I would just say do it to all, and it would understand. Okay, and then it did not delete. It left. Okay, delete the duplicate files slash classes. Okay, let us see. It retained the previous ones. So let us see what's it gonna do. Have been deleted, it says. Okay, now maybe once I accept these, right, these all, it would so it has not deleted it. Duplicate class and the files have been deleted from the old location. Only updated entities are, please recheck. Sometimes it hallucinates. Sometimes it says that it has done it, but it won't do it. So as a person, as a senior, you should imagine yourself as a senior guy who is reviewing his work. Okay, please check. Okay, it sometimes hallucinates while it remains. Okay, let us go and let us check it. Okay, old files are still there. Oh, it has removed it. Okay, okay, so say it, remove the empty files. Okay, sometimes you need to understand what it's saying. It's not always that only other way around, right? So did it do? No. Empty has been removed from the old location. Your domain folder now only contains necessary files. If there is anything, please verify. Please verify the old files in domain project. Okay, it says that no duplicate obsolets are there, but I can still see that. No problem, that's fine. Let me just delete them myself. Sometimes you have to be patient enough with the pro juniors. Okay, that's fine. As long as you're helping me in the bigger things, I can help you with the smaller things. No problem. Okay, now so far so good. Now the first thing when you are implementing an entity framework project, okay, let's say you're doing entity first, year first thing. So what you need is the migration thing, right? For that, you need to create what do you call a application DB context, right? So let us ask the ChatGPT to create application DB context in domain project. Okay, let us see what it would do. So it went ahead and it's creating this file. Okay, it has implemented this. To resolve this, you need to implement the NuGet. Okay, so I'll say resolve. Okay, it has created these things, but we need to have EF NuGet packages added, right? So I'm asking it to go ahead and add them. Because that's why we are getting this DB context and entity framework all errors. So it came up this. Okay, previous 10x developers would just type it here in the terminal, but now with the help of AI, we don't have to remember it. You need to know. You need to be able to understand what this command. For example, when you read this .NET add, you know that you're asking it to add this package, particular package to this particular project. You need to understand the command that you are running, because as I said, you should think yourself as a senior developer, and you should always keep reviewing the junior developer, that is the AI in our case, whatever it's coming up with. Okay, and if you have any clarifications or refinement to it, you have to ask it to do. Okay, now see, it has added as the DB context, and it has skillfully added 2 DB sets to it. Okay, so far so good. Now let us say now we need to implement the migrations, right? So migrations are basically entity framework concept, wherein the changes that we do to the DB in the entity framework world, you have to consider this as your database, the DB context. So these are the tables, DB sets are the tables, and now you need to actually create a what do you say, uh, table, right? And if you are doing it in entity first thing, you have to create migration scripts, and you have to run those migration scripts. So let us ask the Copilot to implement migrations, EF migration. It will understand them. Even if I say migration, it will understand. Implement migrations. Okay, so it's saying that you have to install this particular thing. I already have it. Okay, so I will just say cancel, because I already have it. And then I would want it to create migration scripts to run. Okay, so here, so it is saying .NET migrations and so on. So basically it's creating it inside. Okay, so what I want is, I want it to create it inside one separate project, separate folder. Let's say create the migration scripts inside new folder. Let me call it as infrastructure. Okay, or yeah, infrastructure. So first it has to create that project, and then so it created the infrastructure, it says. Okay, and then it needs to add them. Okay, wait, it is created here. Okay, and now, but I'm not seeing it as part of this domain project, right? So even though it's there created inside it, but it's not actually associated to the project. So okay, let me say associate the new folder to domain project. Okay, so it just created a folder in the file thing, but it has forgot to add that folder to the domain project. Okay, you need to have that okay, you need to watch out. Okay, did it do that? What it did is, it says none include infrastructure, so it understood something else. What I meant is, okay, let's go ahead and let's just create let's run this command which it gave us. Is now associated domain project. Any migration scripts placed in the project will be tracked by the project. You can, okay, let me see, let me keep this DB context and so on. Yeah, so now let me go ahead and just create the infrastructure. So how do you run it? You just hover over it. Okay, give me the command, or I can say give run the migration command. Okay, it gave me that, and it has given the output directory as infrastructure. migration failed environment, like to troubleshoot it. So it's saying that it has run the script, but the build has succeeded, but there is some issue with it. Now let us say, would you like to? So it's saying that it will resolve it. Let's say, please, okay, okay, resolve it. I'll say resolve it. Ensure you have this thing fine. Make sure system has memory right. Try to run the migration. Update all muted packages. Would you like try downgrading the target to get the latest troubleshooting environment? No. Okay, I don't want to downgrade. Okay, it says that. Okay, it says that I need to make sure that I have. Okay, please recheck. Okay, let us try to run this. Recheck by running the EF command and creating the infrastructure. Okay, let me say this. Okay, can you verify if we have the main project to run the migration? So to run the migration, you basically need some exe kind of thing. It may not be able to run it from the class library. So let us see. So you are currently using this project in the solution. There is no main application such as web API or console. Entity frame migration typically requires the main project. Main project, by that we need some exe like the web API project or console project like that. Now because we are developing the web API, right? So we will ask you to please create web API project. Okay, let us see what it will. So it's saying, see, it named it intelligently. So .NET new web API with naming as super company.web API. I'll say continue. Okay, after that it needs to associate, right? Okay, now a new project has been created. Next you would like to add reference to the domain and EF, the web API. So they are not added. Okay, proceed. I'll just say proceed. Okay, it has not added, it has created the new web API project, but it has not associated it with the solution. There is another thing that I'm seeing here. Okay, so let us see. So what it is doing, basically it's adding a reference to this web API project, which reference the domain API reference. Okay, that is, it has to do that, but it also has to add this particular web API to the solution, right? Recommend dot. Okay, now it's also asking us to install EF in the web API project, so which we are doing it. Okay, and then it's saying that we need to add this. Okay, and one more EF package that we need to add. Okay, so when you say run, it runs here. Now web API now. So would you like to set up the DB connections and register the things? Yes. Okay, we want to set them up. Okay, so what it is doing is it's going to the program.cs file, okay, in the web API project that is created. Okay, and it's doing some changes. I think it has added app settings. Okay, launch settings project is there, app settings it has added. Okay, and it's adding this connection, some dummy connection string to it. But let me, okay, let me just wait it to complete. So what it did in the main web API project, it added this DB context. So whenever the from the web API, when you want to run anything related to DB context, it would automatically inject the dependency injection in a way of particular DB context, and it will try to inject this connection string, which it would get it from the app settings. Okay, so this is all automatically generated. I've not typed it anything, right? That's the beauty of it. See, even you are also seeing that even though it's doing the things fast, sometimes it fumbles. And as a person who knows the stack, the .NET stack, you can quickly see that mistakes it's doing. Okay, so now it has come up with some connection string, but let us give it the exact connection string there. So what I'm doing is I'm running my SQL server on Docker. Okay, and I'm running a SQL Express. Okay, and that SQL Express connection string is this one. Okay, so you can say, okay, so what I would say is use update connection string with server as, okay, what is server here? Localhost, this thing, username as, sorry, username as sa. Okay, sa password. So username is sa and password as, this is the password. Okay, previously I remember every time I used to fumble how to write the connection string, we would go to Stack Overflow or Google, and you would give 10 different ways of writing the connection string, and then we would take the one which looks the best, and then in that we would change the things like password or the DB thing and all that. Okay, so it is now doing the same thing but in a faster way, in a 10x developer way, right? So server is localhost, port is 1433. Okay, and database name, it gave it as supercomputer. But as a .NET developer, you know that this connection string will not create, or the entity framework migrations will not create the database for us. We need to have that empty database ready for it, right? So that knowledge you still have to have. Okay, so now let me use Azure data store. Okay, this is the thing I've connected. Let me create one empty DB with that with the name. Okay, this name super company DB. Okay, now this is an empty DB. There are no tables in it, as you can see. Okay, there are no tables in it. Now let us get back to our Visual Studio Code. I hope everything here is good. Okay, and now let us ask, okay, these are changes that it did. Okay, added the connection string, and in the program it added these dependency injection for DB context and the configuration of the DB. Not dependency injection, in a way it's added the DB context configurations for us. Okay, so I'm good with these two changes, so I'm saying keep. Okay, so that it now says, okay, now so after this, now let us try to run the migrations. Okay, it's saying EF migrations, add, initial, create. This is the name of the script. Okay, the project name is domain project, and startup project will be the web API project, and the output directory will be the infrastructure directory. Okay, I have run, this is run. Okay, and but there are some errors. Okay, there are some errors in it. So the errors is, so it's asking us to build the project once. The build project failed because use SQL extension is missing. Okay, somewhere in one of the project, see here, build has failed. So we will just say go and fix it. Okay, for the migration script to be generated, the project has to first run, right? But there is an error in the project. The error is that it is not okay. First of all, okay, let us continue and fix that. The domain project we have. Okay, now let us try to rebuild it, and build has succeeded this time. And before that, please add web API project to solution. It forgot to do that. Okay, but as a developer, senior developer, you know that solution has to have that added. Okay, same thing is okay, so now solution explorer, is it okay? We need to run this, right? Okay, has been added. Okay, it says it has been added to solution file. You can now put the things. Okay, but my solution explorer is still not showing me those changes. Oh yeah, it did add it. Okay, it has added it, but here entity framework is not so let me, okay, so basically when I see it in the file explorer, right, I'm seeing this infrastructure project, an empty infrastructure project, but in the solution explorer I don't see that empty infrastructure project. Okay, in the domain I see entities, but I don't see the empty infrastructure project. Okay, let me ask it in solution explorer. I'm not able to see infrastructure spelling mistakes, doesn't mind, folder in domain project. Let me keep this expanded. Not visible in the solution because it is not included in the CS project. You need to add this to include it. Okay, so now we'll say please include it. Even if you don't say please, it would include, but as a soft senior developer, you will want to use please go in there. It may or may not have an effect. The please may or may not have an effect on it though. So it added the change, and okay, it's so infrastructure folder now included in your domain project will appear in a solution explorer. Let us say keep, and let us see if the solution explorer is showing it. It's not. Why is it not? Okay, for some reason it doesn't show it. Okay, still can't see it. Cannot see it. Contains files. Okay, see, sometimes okay, it will appear only if there are files. So let us go ahead and create a migration. Okay, create migrations. Okay, spelling mistakes, but it's intelligent enough to understand. So it's saying entity framework migrations have to add it and add the initial migrations name as initial create, and project is domain project, and the starter project web API project, and the output directory is infrastructure. Let us say continue. The moment you say that, it comes here and runs it in the terminal. Build has succeeded and it has done it. Now the infrastructure thing is showing up. Super. Now the EF scripts are created. Okay, EF first, entity first scripts are created. Next you need to run those scripts, okay, or deploy those scripts, okay. Run the EF scripts, okay, so that by when you run the EF script, actually the EF would get deployed, so the database gets updated. So this is the command, okay. As a 10x developer, I would always have this command in my mind, but as a senior developer who is aging, we will forget. But don't worry, AI is at our rescue. So what we are doing here is .NET EF database, update the database, okay, run this particular project for the getting the domain details, and the startup project would be web API. Let us see. Let us run this and let us go back to the okay, build has failed. Okay, the database has failed. That usually means that there is a code or configuration error. Would you like to see the build errors? Yes. Okay, build has failed. So why the build has failed? Okay, it's saying run this command and I will check it for you. Okay, there are so many errors there. The build, because domain project is missing these particular these two NuGet packages, so add them. I will just say add them, and it will give me the commands, and it will ask me to authorize it for running. So it gave me this command, and so what it is doing is, in this particular domain project, it's adding the EF design NuGet project. I'm good with it, so I'm saying continue. Okay, after that, previously we added it to the API projects. If you remember, we added it to the web API project. Okay, you can see in the dependency packages, but we have not added it to the we have not added all of them to the domain project. Okay, now it has added it. Now it's asking us to retry building it. Okay, still there are 8 errors. Okay, it's running it. Build error persists. The reason is that design, and it need to have SQL Server. Okay, the core project doesn't have SQL, so I will say add. Again, spelling mistake, but okay, it's just adding that package, SQL Server package. Okay, now we have this SQL project in the domain. Okay, and after that we need to rebuild it, so giving it permission to run that build command. Every time it will ask us. Okay, once this is built, we have to run the migrations again. Now see, it's asking us, can I go ahead and run the migration? I said yes, update the database with the migration scripts. Okay, build has succeeded and it has run these commands. Woohoo! Now let us go to Visual Studio, Azure Studio, and let us refresh this. Yes, we have these companies. Okay, now let us see if there is any data. Obviously there will be no data in this, okay, because these do not have anything inserted. So but we need some seed data. Let us say we need some seed data, so let us add some seed data. Okay, now let us see what it would do. So it added the seed data and it added it in the EF project, in the main web API project, right? See, it has added in program.cs and it added this state, but this is not the good way of doing the things, right? It has to add it as part of the domain. Okay, add them in domain project, because domain project needs to know these details, not the API project or the main project. Okay, I gave it that remark. Let us see how it will take it. So it going ahead and creating this seed dot thing in the domain project. Let us see if it is added that in the domain project. Okay, this is the domain project, and where is the, yeah, so it has added it in the inside the what do you say, inside the domain table. But what you can do is, you can ask basically, okay, you can in a way, okay, put it outside, put it outside entity folder. Okay, so it went ahead and added it, okay, outside the entity folder. But okay, now it had added it here, and it has added only, okay, one company. And okay, but I want them to be uh, kind of add multiple companies, add multiple companies, and add data of employee and company separately. Okay, by the way, I want all complete. First create some sample companies, and then separate, what do you say, employees, so that it's more easier to read, right? Okay, so this is the seed data. Okay, and it has added in the domain project. Okay, add this seed data as part of migration, not as a separate class things. It has to add it as part of the migration. Okay, to see the data as part of migration, you should update your initial thing to insert the new SQL rows in the up method. Would you like me to generate the thing? Yes. Okay, so it's reading the infrastructure. Okay, there's one mistake. Okay, we'll come back to it. Okay, so it has added this initial create. Oh, see, data for the companies has been added to the initial migrate. Okay, so it has added it here. Okay, it has added it here. The initial seed data is added here. Okay, and then you have these things and these things which you no more needed, right? You no more read them, so you would just undo them, undo them, undo them. Okay, and the other things you say create. Okay, and then but the problem is it left behind these files which are no more needed, right? So I've deleted them. Now update the database. Okay, we need to run this script. Let us go to the thing and let us Azure Studio and let us check whether we have that. Okay, it has not added. It's already up to date with the latest configurations. Okay, the reason is that it has add migration scripts for the changes. Okay, let us see. Okay, it is not having it. Just go to the Visual Studio. Okay, let me what is the problem here? So maybe the way we are creating this seat, okay, is not correct, right? So okay, let us see the initial. Okay, we should not be touching this data basically, because this has to be separate seed data and leverage migration script generation to update the scripts. Sorry. Let us see what it's doing. Correct. So now it understood. Actually, it's removing from the seed data and then it's putting it in the on modeling of the DB context. That's the right way of doing the seeding the data. Okay. So go ahead and run it. Okay, it suggested us that thing and I said go ahead and run it, and now it's going to do the change. So first, okay, it's saying EF migration update, so it's updating the, why is it updating the database? It has to okay, did it update the DB context, application DB context? It did not. Okay, so migration is done, but then obviously it wouldn't be, even though the update is done, I'm sure the data won't be there. Okay, data is not there, so I need to say update DB context with seed data. It has not updated it here. It told that remove those things. Okay, would you like me to update the domain project seeding? Okay, but it did not do it. So maybe when I said go ahead and run it, it understood that don't consider this, just go ahead and run the old one. That's what it could have understood it. So right, so that was my mistake. Okay, at last it comes up updating the application DB context. Right, this is the more better way. Okay, see data. Okay, it has this has data and on DB modeling things that are leveraged. So I say keep, and now I say apply the migration to update the database. Here migration, so it has to add this new migration script. It's called seed data update. Okay, so when I do it, you will see one more script added to this infrastructure. Okay, it's working on it. Seed is added. Okay, now we need to update the database. Scripts are added in seed. Okay, we need to now run these scripts to update the database. Migration scripts to run the database. Okay, the build and the scripts have run. So I can see the insert statements here. Let us go to the, yes, we have those things now. Okay, so good, so far so good, but we have done one big architectural mistake. What we did is, in the domain project we have added lot of things that are should not be there in the domain context. For example, we should not have this application DB context in the domain project. It should be there in the persistence layer. Okay, because DB context is actually talking to the database. Okay, whereas domain layer only need to define the structure of the database. Okay, so now let us move the infrastructure and the domain things to a separate folder. separate project. Okay, now let us see how our AI will help us to refactor it as a 10x developer at the speed of a 10x developer. Okay, add new infrastructure project and move migrations and DB context to new project. One liner. It's saying create this first. I'll say okay. Let us see. Okay, and now this time it's adding it to the thing. Okay, infrastructure project created, right? Now next, migration. It created a new migration thing in the infrastructure project. Hopefully this is the domain. Let's close it. Infrastructure. Okay, it's saying add .NET and the references. Okay, domain reference to the infrastructure project. Okay, basically what the point that I'm trying to show here is that when I was asking it to come up with the solution, and when I was not having that hold on the architecture of the code, it got the things done, but the architecture is still my responsibility, right? As a person who decides what projects or what layers need to do what. Okay, I need to know that these all things are related to the persistence layer or the infrastructure layer, and okay, and I have to dictate my copilot to follow that structure. See, it's still a 10x developer, but it's not a 10x architect. It doesn't own the architecture of the project. Okay, it's adding all the required packages to the infrastructure project. Okay, and it is summarizing the conversation so far. That is that application DB context for us. Okay, this is a new chain that we are seeing. It added this application DB context and it looks good to me. So summarizing, let's come back. Search the files, infrastructure, 5 matches. Okay, before summarizing, it's just searching in the domain. Read these. It's working. Okay. Let us see the state of domain project. Okay, still has DB context layer also. Okay, it's coming in the in the persistent project, infrastructure project, it had created these migration scripts. Okay, basically copied those migration scripts. uh, okay, .NET infrastructure. Okay, it needs to add the reference, building it. Continue, build the solution. Okay, all things are running fine, it's saying. Okay, now let us just go ahead and check what it has done. Had it moved the infrastructure? It has not moved the infrastructure. So had it moved the thing? No. Okay, let us attempt. Please delete duplicate files in domain project. Has been deleted, it says. Okay, but the reality is it is not deleted. Okay, we still see the domain project. So let me go ahead and just delete this. Okay, move to trash. Move to trash. Right, and then another important okay, move. So what I'm saying is that in the persistent layer, in the infrastructure layer, it has created migration outside the infrastructure folder. Okay, so in infrastructure project, move, sorry for typos, move migration folder into move migration folder into what? Into infrastructure folder. Infrastructure folder. Okay, had it done it? It's working on it. Okay. Okay. Migration, it has deleted it, I think. Now it's creating a new. Say close this. Okay, it's creating the stuff still. So while it's creating it, what we will, the next steps will be that we will run again the migration. What I will do is I will just go ahead and delete the DB. Okay, and I'll from scratch I will try to upgrade the migration project, migration thing. Let us see whether while it's doing it, let's go ahead to the thing and to the Azure Studio and just let us delete this database. Okay, drop this database. Okay, delete the backups. Super company DB, and let us recreate an empty folder again. Super company DB. You cannot have typos here, please, because it wouldn't match the connection string of the compiler. Okay, let us see the tables, the empty tables. Okay, let us go back to the Visual Studio Code. All migration files have been moved. Let us see. Okay, not in the. Let's see it in the Okay, so in the file infrastructure you still have migration, you still have and migration, so no problem, it's little bit weak in deleting things looks like. Okay, no problem. So infrastructure has migrations, and then it has these seed data, and it also has, okay, this migration thing should also be inside this. Okay, or else what I will say is delete migrate all migrations. Why? Because let me create it afresh. Been deleted. Okay, my bad. I have to say keep here, and then only it deletes it actually. So that was the reason why it was not deleting it here. My bad. Okay, now migration. Oh, still you have them. Okay, no problem. I will just go ahead and delete them. Okay, move to trash. Move to trash. Okay, move to trash. Snapshots and everything, move to trash. So now summarize the thing. In domain project we only have entity, okay, and then entities, we have two entities, and then in the infrastructure project we have a DB context that has these two DB sets, and it has the seed data. Okay, and now I need to recreate the run command cmd to create migration scripts. Okay, spelling mistakes doesn't matter. Ef add initial thing. Okay, if I don't want to call this initial create, I can call it something initial create 123. Okay, I can always modify the command that it came up with. Okay, basically, as you know, migration add, this is the name of the file that gets created, so I'm naming it something else. Okay, migration, so it says that it has added it in the infrastructure project. Okay, in the infrastructure project, but I think there is an error, so it's saying unable to. Okay, so it's saying to fix this, add public param thing to the design time. So I'll say okay. Add package configuration. Okay, I think the command that it came up with right here, ef migrations, it's not telling the startup project. I think that's the problem. That's the reason why it's not able to. So now output folder is this, project is this, but then specify startup project, right? Startup project is missing. Okay, even though I don't remember the exact command, but I always remember the structure or the idea behind the command. So that's what you still need to, as a developer, you still need to own it. You still need to have the idea about what project, what command that you are running. Okay, this will use web API startup infrastructure as the migration project. Let me know if you want to run the command. I will say run it. Okay, I can say, let me read. Okay, command, and I'll say run it. but there will be build errors. Okay, there are build errors. Okay, builds has shows preventing migration. Continue the solution. Okay, there are some build errors. The problem is, see, actually it added this db design time db context factory because it in the command, right, previous command it was not using startup project. So now we don't need this design time db context factory, right? So I can say remove design time db context factory. Remove that, we don't need it, because the connection string and the db context is, the startup project is taking care of it. Deleted, let's say keep. Okay, let me, has been deleted. Let me know if it is. Okay, it says it is deleted, but physically if we see here it's not deleted, right? So no problem, let me just delete it. Okay, run migration script generation command. Okay, this file is removed. EF migration add initial this thing. See, it remembered my last preference of the script name, right? Good enough. Say continue. Okay, again there is a build error saying it want to run the solution once. There are two errors. Okay, error type application db context. Okay, application db context. Okay, application db context. I think, would you like to add infrastructure project refs? Okay, add web API needs to have that infrastructure project, right? Because it has to call the db context. Now let us try to build the solution. Still two errors. Okay, it reads the errors and says references are added, but application db is still found in program. This is likely due to missing infrastructure statement in your code. Would you update? Yes. Okay, let's see the program file, program.cs. Okay, it's added and it's building it again. Okay, it's added it. Okay, application db context. Now it added it. Previously it was domain. Okay, and I'm now, let's say it wants to build the solution again. This time it succeeds, and the changes that it did was to add this namespace, infrastructure namespace, and it looks good to me, so I'll say keep. Okay, it's still working, so it's just waiting. So now it wants to run the migration with the name as this, project as infrastructure project, startup as web API, output is. So I don't want output to, again, because the project name already has that infrastructure, right? So I don't want infrastructure again. So I'll just say, just create it inside migrations folder. Okay, okay, it looks like it has run. Okay, it ran, and then this is the change that it did. Okay, it's still working. It's summarizing it. It's saying migrate, see, initial create 123 created. Okay, this is the timestamp, and this is the thing, and this is the db migration scripts that we have. Okay, and I'm good with this program.cs change that is done. Okay, command to update db. So this is the command, run it. Okay, let me check this. It needs to update the database and the project is the infrastructure project, and the startup project is web API project. Update it. Okay, now if it succeeds, okay, continue. Okay, it did run it. Let us reconfirm it. Let's refresh this. Yes, let's select. There are 2 files here. Let's select 4 files here. Good. So far, so good. Now we have this 3 layers: domain layer, infrastructure layer, okay, and the web API layer. Okay, now we want to actually develop the APIs. So to develop the APIs, okay, the API layer needs to talk to the service layer, and then that talks to the domain layer. But in the domain layer, there is nothing except the entities that really talk to the database, right? So for that, we have to create some repository files. So let us ask, create repository interfaces in domain project under interfaces folder. Okay, one liner. Let us see if it can comprehend. So I want to, so when I say repository interfaces to in the domain project, it should understand that I'm asking it to create I company repository, I employee repository in the domain project, and that too inside the repositories interfaces. So it's creating the interfaces folder. It's created the I company. So it's understanding the jargon, the technical jargon. It's good enough to understand. Okay, and it created these methods in it. Okay. Okay, the same thing it did it with the employee. But let us say that I don't want to do it in an async way. Maybe I want to do it because the database transaction that happens, right? That okay, I wanted to do it without async. Okay, rewrite without okay other than or what do I say is I'll say don't use async. Okay, when I say that, it would understand that it doesn't want me to use async way of doing the repositories, the normal way of doing it, right? Adding IEnumerable. But again, here I don't want it to be IEnumerable because when you do it as IEnumerable, it will actually hit the database every time you say get all. But maybe after doing get all, you want to do some filtering and all that on top of it. Okay, so for that, it's better to use iQueryable. Okay. Okay, this developer is this Copilot, who is working as a junior developer, as a pro junior developer, is coming up with the fast things. But as a senior person, I should detect that small things it's missing and suggest it. And that thing you would only get once you have worked enough with these kind of in a given stack. Okay, so it gave me queryable, but I don't see any what do you say, a filter kind of thing in the domain, right? So I don't have what do you say, okay, I get all, get by ID, and I have add, update, delete. Okay, what else? Okay, filtering, let us say that we don't want to do further filtering. So let's see the employee, let me see the thing, these two look good, so I'll say keep. Now the next thing is implement implement these interfaces in infrastructure project. Okay, in the infrastructure project, it would just go ahead and implement the things for us. Let us see. Okay, here I would say okay, it's created the company repository and hoping that it has created in the infrastructure project. Yes, it has created in the infrastructure project. Okay. Okay, both repositories are created it here, and then it has created in infrastructure project. Okay, put them inside let's say repositories folder. Okay, it has created it outside, and I wanted to just put it in an organized way. Okay, actually I would want to call it as repositories. Okay, it's working on it. Both repositories have been moved to the okay, inside they have moved it. Okay, so far so good. Let me say keep there, but then fix build errors. I can see there are build errors, and the build errors are because this okay, let us see what it will come up with. Okay, phases repository, and let me just remove this repository, delete, yes, delete, yes, and then I have this. It's time, says that it has fixed it. So it did fix it. Let us see what change it did. So okay, I did other changes. Okay, build succeeds now. Okay, build is succeeded. Now we have two repositories, but the thing is, if I have to use this repositories in what, let's say, okay, so I want, let's say the I now when I'm using repository, each table in the database has one repository associated with. But let me say that I want to do multiple operations on that repository. Like for example, I wanted to add one record to the employee, and then add one record, the corresponding add one record to the company, new company record, and then add couple of employee records, and after that I want to do the save context, and when I do that save context, and that's the time when I want the actual database to be hit. Okay, so if I want to do that kind of thing, I need to have one more separate class called as repository manager that would do this CRUD, that would have a save context way. Okay, which will help me to basically do the thing that I've just described just now, that is instruct different operations, and in one shot do those operations on the DB whenever I say save context. Okay, so let me try to explain it to Copilot. So add repository repository manager to interface to domain project that has all repositories and a save method. Okay, so repository manager need to have all the reference. So whenever you inject this repository manager somewhere, Okay, that single repository manager will be good enough to access all the repositories and in the end do a save context, and all these repositories and save context should happen on the same DB context. Okay, so it says that it has created it. Let us go ahead and see it. Yet it did create it, and it created in the interface in the domain layer, domain project, and I think I'm good with this. Okay, so now what I will say is now what I would say is I will say, okay, so first of all I will accept this and say implement it in infrastructure project. Okay, so many typos. Okay, it's adding. Okay, so see, it's good enough to understand that it needs to take the application DB context injection. Okay, injected, and then save context actually does when, okay, separately. That's the EF entity framework terminology, right? Whenever you do any operations on this DB set, company DB set or employees DB set, they won't go and instantly add it to the DB. Instead, only when you say save context.save changes, and that is the time when the actual scripts get single connection string to the backend will be created in the from the connection pool, and single execution happens on the database, right? So that is the knowledge of the entity framework which we need to have it to be able to architect a proper solution. Okay, so basically again reiterating the thing that Copilot or any AI thing will help us to implement the things fast and good enough, but you are the person who has to guide it from the architecture point of view, or from the clean code point of view, or from the separations of concern point of view. Okay, so now so good, so far so good. Now we have these domain infrastructure project which are good enough. So now let us add service project, okay, with in interfaces faces folder, and I what do you call it, maybe I will call it like I DB service, or yeah, IDB service. What other name can I think of? Service layer, it has so basically it has to, okay, or maybe I company service, this, which, okay, and let's see what it will come up with. It's asking us to create a separate class library. Okay, and it's adding that to the solution. iCompany service. Okay, created this iCompany service. Okay, say add the domain. Okay, and build the thing. Company services created it. Let's say implement it using, okay, let me just see iCompany services. Okay, this is created. I'll say keep, and I'll say implement it using iRepository Manager. Yes. Okay, so it went ahead and created a company service. Okay, the services project. Okay, it has repository manager injected, and using the repository manager, it's doing the different things, right? And looks good to me. I'll say keep it. Okay, after that, now services are ready. In the web API project, add controller for company CRUD operations. Single liner. Let us see what it would do. Okay, company controller it created. It's taking iCompany services. Okay, it's injecting iCompany services, but obviously the service reference have to be added to the web API project. Let us build the project. Build succeeded. Now let us run the project. Okay, now references thing DI. If you need DI registration, more controllers of okay need DI registration. Okay, keep this need DI registrations. If you remember in .NET, right, dependency injection has to be done, because when you say when you want to say get all, right, it will try to get iCompany service, but somebody has to inject this iCompany service in the controller. Which company service needs to be I mean how to resolve these interfaces to the actual implementation, that's how what we meant by DI registration. So it was intelligent enough to remind me about that. Okay, so before testing it. Okay, so in the program.cs file, let us see what it is doing. Okay, okay, so it added iRepository manager, iCompany service, all these DI injections it's adding done. Okay, dependency injection has been completed. Let me know if you need DI for other services or want to test it. Let's test it. Let's test the API. So it's saying run this command, boss. Okay, okay, and also here I want to say keep it. Okay, it's running the command. Let us see. Yeah, it ran the command and it's running here, right? Control C to shut down. For some reason, it's still. Console, terminal. Let's just stop and say keep it and ask it to run the test. So it will come up with that command to run it. Okay, it's building the solution again. It has built and it is running now. And here it says that you can reach out to this particular and the controllers, as you know, you have this company controller, and let us test it with get all. Okay, get all basically API slash controller the company. Okay, but let us leverage the taking too much time for some reason. Okay, for some reason it's taking too long time, so let me just pause this, or basically, okay, what do you say, stop this. Okay, instead I will just run the command. Okay, this command I would just run it myself. Control C, Control V. Okay, now while it is running, right? Okay, I'll ask the API how Copilot how to test the get all companies. Okay, so basically I want it to give me the actual endpoint URL and all that. Way to invoke, what to invoke. Okay, I know that from here I can say that I need to run this endpoint, and then I use slash API slash company, the controller thing. But then so it just did one small hallucination here. So it sold 5,000 here, but actual the port where it is running is 5142. Okay, now let us just for a minute think that it is doing correct. Let me just open this, and let me open it in a Postman or here. So it says 404. Okay, you don't have authentication, so it says it's not running. So we will say please verify once. Port, it has not given us correctly the port number, so it's just going back and verifying its own hallucinations. Okay. Okay, address already in use obviously, but now this time it came back with the correct port number. Okay, so now let us run that. 404, but it says 404 for us. Why is this running? Yes, it's not running. You need to run this. Okay, there is an issue here. It says that address is already in use. Okay, address port already in use error. Please help to stop the previous runs. Okay, we have run it twice, so that's why it is having that problem. Same port. Okay, so it's giving us the command, go and kill that process. Okay, so first it figured out which process is running on that port, and then it's killing that port, the Linux or the Mac or the OS concepts. After that, it's gonna run the project, run the thing. So let me just run this in the command line. Oh, sorry, it runs it here in the project, so I need to run it in the editor, or copy it here and then run it myself. Okay, it's running on the port. Let me go back to the browser, because it's a get call, I can use the browser. So it says 404. Why? Interesting. Is this running? It is running. Web API. It is running, building, executing. When I say fail to determine the port for redirection, that's fine. Let's say Control C, shut down. Okay, let me try to run it from here. Okay, from here let me try to run it. Start a new instance. Okay, permission issues. First time I need to give that. Okay, so now I'm hoping that it's running fine. Let me, okay, still not running. It says any errors here. Okay, it is running here, but localhost what is the port? 5142. Okay, control click. Okay, like that. 5142 5142 5142. It's not running, is it? Oh, let me refresh it. Shutting down, application is crashing, looks like. What could be the reason? Is it crashing? Let me stop this. Okay, let me run project. Okay, it says that. Okay, in the program files, as you know, we will have this weather. Whenever we create an MVC project, we'll have this weather forecast one. Let us see at least if this is getting hit. Oh, sorry. Okay, Y2 weather forecast 5142. Let us see the app settings. What do you call that? In the properties, we will have this launch 5142 is correct. Okay, 5142 is correct. HTTPS is wrong, but okay. 512. So we weather forecast is hitting fine, but API slash company is not getting, is not so let us say getting, so there is an issue. The issue is that it did not, in the program.cs file, it did not map the controllers. Okay, but I want it to figure it out now. Okay, let me see if it can figure it out. Getting 404 on this. Can you fix? So see, it started looking at, okay, no, maybe I opened it. Searching company controller in the controllers for results. Okay, see, map controller. See, it knows that you have to have this map controllers in the program.cs, but no results. So as an intelligent junior developer, it will start implementing that changes, map controllers, add controllers, and so on. See, use authorization, map controllers, and so on. Add controllers, map controllers, and restart your web API project and try this. Okay, so let's keep these changes. Control C and run the project again. Okay, it's running fine. Let's rerun this. Yes, this time it works. This time we got the companies back, two companies that we created. Okay, now, but the thing is, the companies are not having the corresponding employees, right? We created some employees in each of the companies. Okay, in the companies we are not seeing employees. Please fix. No, full stop, nothing, but it understands my concern. Okay, it's trying to come up with a solution. To include the employees in the thing, you have to say this entity framework include thing. So okay, so it gave the suggestion and it's seeing what are the places where it needs to do those changes. Okay, it needs to include it here. Okay, it did some changes. Now saying include. Now okay, now let us, where's the company and so on. So now what I have to do, I just need to rerun this. Control C. Okay, and run it again. Now let's go back to the, oh, I'm seeing that. Okay, getting JSON cyclic. Now let us see. Getting, I'll just say getting this error. I'll open the, I'll copy this and I'll say because of the JSON formatting the error is, but let us what do you say, see if Copilot can fix it. Getting error. Okay, I gave the details of the error and I copied from there. So it says that in the controller you need to add this JSON serializer. Okay, and you did the changes in the project file. Okay, API is now configured to handle it. You no longer see the JSON errors. Okay, now I'll say keep it. I'm good with this. Okay, I need to, I think it will just take the, what do you say, okay, I need to stop and run the server once. Okay, let me run it from here so that refreshing will be easier for me. Okay, let me refresh this. There you go. You got the employees also. Okay, but the problem is in the employees, right? I'm seeing this thing and seeing the references. The okay. The API response has what do you say, fields like this. Please fix it. Okay, I don't want to see these things appearing, right? That because of the JSON formatting. Fixed it. I don't know how many Stack Overflow blogs I would have to read this to do to come to this conclusion. I'm hoping this fixes it in the first place though. Your company enable data will return the clean standard JSON format. Please test your endpoint again. Okay, let us refresh and let me okay. See, no more reading the Stack Overflow answers and seeing if some other guy has the same problem, coming back and implementing it, copy pasting and implementing it. No more. Okay. Okay, so far so good. Now I want to help me test add employee, add company, let's say. Okay, I want to get the details. Okay, these are the details it gave. So what I can do is I can just run this curl command, or okay, let me run this curl command. Okay, this is not okay. Curl, it may not work here because of this another. So instead, let me take the help of Postman. Okay, let me take the help of Postman. Okay, I have this Postman already here. Let me change the port number as per my current port number, or maybe I will create a new this thing, copy the endpoint, call it post, and copy the data body. Your post has body, the raw thing, and it's a JSON thing, and this is the test data. Okay, so I'm creating a new company. Okay, I need to have this inside this and this, and let me beautify this. Okay, so I'm creating a new company with 2 employees. Let me first see, I have that company already. Select star from company. No, I don't have that company, and I have only 4 records for the employees. I need to see 6 records here and 3 records in the company after I run this Postman thing, right? Let me try my luck. Okay, it says SSL. Okay, because it gave 404. 404. Okay, 404, because of the space, white spaces. Postman is show. Okay, it says it created a new company 3. Let us go to the DB and check it. Yes, new company is created. ID is 3. How about the employees? Do we have any employees in company 3? Let's see. Yes, we have 2 new employees. So that's it, friends. That's it for today. It's been a long video. I hope you understand it. So to summarize the thing, so we have this new tool at our hand, which is very good at fixing the things, writing the code fast. But as owner of this project, you still need to have the say on what the architecture of the project has to be, and what are the different patterns that the project has to be following, like separation of concern, different things. Okay, still needs to dictate that to the new friend that you have now. Thank you so much. Happy developing.